So hello, you guys look beautiful. You smell lovely. You're taking a picture of me. I must pre-warn you. Oh, good. I did get Sandy's extra 2 minutes. Good. Thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. That was awesome of you. So I should pre-warn you. I'm ADD. Not like, Chip, you're ADD. No, seriously, they put me through the test. Like halfway through, the doc was like, "You're ADD. Just go. You don't need to finish the test." That's honestly what happened. I'm not making that up. I'll try this. What are you looking at? What happened? No, you just let it roll. You just let it roll. Did I say everything I wanted to say? Wow. How did I get up with all these amazing speakers, Sandy and Sean, and you guys are about to meet DK, and he's amazing, and you just like to hear him talk because he's got an accent. It's true. You do. You do. Okay. So do you guys remember that class in elementary school where they taught you how like businesses run? Okay, this is later on. You remember that class in middle school where they taught you how businesses run? Okay, hold on, I'm the wrong crowd. Remember that class in high school that taught you how to run business? No, right. So my story, I have a long story, but I'll start like halfway through it. And then since I'm ADD, I'll probably go back and catch a couple things that are important. You guys just raise your hand and say, Chip, you missed, you need to, and I'll just do it. So I was in college at Liberty University studying youth ministries. So good. I had completely bullshit my way through high school, and I was in the process of bullshitting my way through college. That's, when you're ADD in the 90s, they were like, you're just stupid, like move on, or here's a class where if you just show up, you'll get an A, and I failed that. So that's what they did. They've made a lot of improvements on people with ADD, and really people with ADD like shoot through now, where people like me were like, get out of here, you're dumb. So I was there just muddling my way through college, and my church called me from St. Petersburg, Florida, and said, we just bought a bar. I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What are you guys doing buying a bar? Like, we're not going to turn it into a bar. We're going to make it a coffee shop. This was in the late 90s where coffee shops were like, oh, really? There's a coffee shop? Let's go get coffee. That's great. It's not, this is like all like where there's a coffee shop here. So they said, can you come down and run it? Like, are you busy up there? No. No, I'm not. They're like, yeah, we thought. Come on down and run this coffee shop for us. We think you could do it. I said, yeah, definitely. Like, bags were packed as I was hanging up the phone. It was the 90s, so I like hung up the phone. The millennials are like, phone? Why would you hang it up? I don't know. What does it? Do you put it on a hanger? I don't know. So they called me. I came down. They said, here's the coffee house. That's great. This is a good bar. We can work with this. Let's do it. We started going. And long story short, nobody came to this thing. It was supposed to be fun, interactive, and entertaining, and cutting edge at the time. But it didn't work like that. So me and a couple of my buddies started doing something that we had done all the way through high school and college called improvisational comedy there for the peoples to come watch. So the peoples. So we started doing that. We started doing improv, and long story short, man, people started really coming to this coffee house, which was now pretty much a comedy club. And then it started to grow, 50 people a night, 80 people a night, 200 people a weekend, and the church was really digging this, right? Because they were making money on this, and I was like volunteering. That's how it works. So so I remember this aha moment. I was sitting there, and by this time I had a cell phone, millennials. Don't freak out. I was sitting there one night, and the phone rang, and I answered it. They said, is this Chip? I said, yes. And they said, you do the improv at the Smiley's Coffee House. I said, yeah. Will you come and do that for our youth group? And I said, yes, absolutely. They said, how much would you charge? And I said, $150. Expecting them to go, well, could you bring it down a little bit? And they did. They could bring it down a little bit. So, yeah, brought it down to 100. And I went there, and we did that. And that was really the tipping point, because that phone call was across town. Then we started getting phone calls, like, cross state. Then we started getting phone calls from, like, Georgia, which is another state. So I remember having this moment where things were getting popular, really kind of making money doing this thing. And I said, I remember we get a phone call from California. I go, this is it. I said, I'm going to put a plan in now so that I can break off of this coffee shop which I'm volunteering at, and I'm going to start my own company of me and 2 other dudes traveling around doing improv. I thought insane. Everybody thought insane. So I went to the church and said, hey, I want to break off me and 2 dudes, and don't worry, we'll replace us. You got a large troop. Everybody's trained. Everything's good. We'll take time to do it. And I'll never forget this. We're sitting at the coffee house across from my manager, which was the head college pastor, and I said, I want to go do this. I'd like to do what I do for you guys for a lot of coffee houses, a lot of churches, a lot of colleges, a lot of comedy clubs. And he said, you can do it, but if you leave, then if you're going to do that, leave the keys on the table right now and leave and don't come back. And that moment will always stick in my head as something so important to me. Yeah, wrong, super wrong, but oh so right, because I didn't know about entrepreneurship. I didn't know about risk. I didn't know about what it took to succeed. I thought I was crazy for doing this. This is how business starts. This is how it happens. So I was lucky this happened because I was getting kicked out of the nest. I was pushed out of the nest. I didn't know to walk out of it at that point. I just got kicked out of it. So left the keys, obviously, and I totally did the drop. I was like, well, I did the look around what? So I dropped out. We booked a 2-week tour up and down the East Coast, and there were 10 shows on a 2-week tour. And I told my guys, I go, don't worry, quit your jobs. We're going to go do this. Don't worry, we got this. All right. So in my heart, I thought, oh shit, this is where I'm out on a limb, where I'm truly out on a limb. And we went on that 2-week tour, and by the time we got back from that tour, we had a month booked out for that. I mean, we got back for a day and went back out on another month tour from people that we did shows with, calling their buddies going, you got to get these guys out there. Long story short, that month led to 6 months, led to a year. And now I'm pretty happy to say my first entrepreneurial effort lasted 10 years with me and 2 other troops touring the U.S. and Europe, 9 months out of the year in the U.S. and 2 months out of the year in Europe for 10 years, 250 shows a year. Yes, wow. That was it. It was, no. That's it. Oh, sorry. Don't clap. I don't know how to, that's awkward. So we did that, and I really got forced into entrepreneurship. I never was taught about it. I was an entrepreneur before I knew what that meant. I was an entrepreneur before I knew that the skills I had weren't what everybody was telling me, which was something bad. Chip, you're what's the word for you do things without thinking? Impulsive. Thank you. Chip, you're impulsive. You take too many risks. You're here and there. You're all over the place. And that's before I knew that makes a really good entrepreneur. That's amazing. Nobody ever told me that that's what it's about. So I started that company. That company led on to a bunch of things, and I ended up developing a drinking problem and burning out and all that stuff. Yeah, it is funny. It's funny. It's funny. I fell off stage, and I was like, okay, done. I fell off stage, not drunk, but super hungover, and I've got to stop this. So they kept touring. I moved to San Diego and hung out for a while, ended up selling that company, and then starting a surfboard manufacturing company. This is where my serial entrepreneurism started. I know, from comedy to surfboard manufacturing company. They're kind of the same, only the side effects are a lot worse from the chemicals. So I started doing that. That went well, and then I immediately failed that. At that time, I thought now's the time to kind of change my area, what I'm looking at. I said, I've been on the beach my whole life. I've been in the desert. I've been in the South. I want to go to some green, lush areas. So I had a wife at that time, and she still is my wife. She was my wife then, and she still is. And so I still call her my first wife, though. So just to keep everything clean. She does. She really likes that. She likes that. So I said, babe, let's move to where you're from, up in Oregon, up in Portland, Oregon. It'll be nice there. It'll be green. It'll be so cool. And I'll love it. A guy from Florida and California is going to really love the Northwest. Yeah. I moved into Northwest. I was like, nope. Boop. My wife was like, So while I was up there, I started looking for my next. You can't stop an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, raise your hand. If you fit this right there, there you go. You can't stop us. You could put us in a job and we will get fired immediately, right? You can give us a company and we'll run it, not until it's profitable, probably right at the point that it's profitable, and we'll go, bored, done. Raise your hand if that's you in here, okay? I've learned something since then. I know to keep it, right? Never sell a home. Always rent it out after you didn't buy another home. Same thing with companies. Never sell a company. Just keep it. It's not going to die. You're not brilliant. People around you are way smarter than you are. Anyways, tangent. ADD and out. Okay. So I said, you know what? I could open up another Smiley's Coffee House here in the Northwest and people will love it. Everybody said, you're crazy. I said, I've been through this before. I can do this. So I opened it. I called the Capital City Theater. It's in Salem, Oregon. It's about 40 minutes south of Portland. And it is just to the point that it's profitable right now. And, of course, I'm super bored of it. So as I'm looking for this next thing to do, I start noticing that through my days, all I do is talk to people about entrepreneurship. Guys hear that I'm an entrepreneur. Girls hear that I'm an entrepreneur. Grown-ups, kids, everybody hears that I'm an entrepreneur. And they want to say, hey, how do I do that? How do I become an entrepreneur? And I said, well, didn't you go to the class in high school that taught you how? Just kidding. It's not there. We already established that. Okay. And so I said, you know what? At this point, I'm going to give my first venture into a nonprofit. So what I did was started the Center for Entrepreneurial Education and Development, and I threw an event called Salem Sharks, which is like the Shark Tank, only on a local level. And it went spectacularly. So at that time, like 2.5 minutes, so I'm trying to rush through. Like, this is my life, homies. All right. So we had that event. It went well, and I thought, wow, this is it. Like, the Northwest is thirsty for entrepreneurship. Duh, it's not in the schools. It's nowhere in the schools. You go through college and not even touch entrepreneurship. So I really put my head into this, and I thought, what's the next program we're going to find? And that's when I got an email from a buddy out east that said, you got to check out this thing called Lemonade Day. I said, all right. Lemonade Day is a 14-step curriculum that walks middle school kids through the process of starting a company with the business model being a lemonade stand. Brilliant. Mic drop. I won't. I thought, this is what I want to do. We definitely want to do this. I called the main office as a nationally franchised event, and I said, I want to do this. I'm built for this. Let's do it. And they were like, no, hold on. I go, no, I want to do all of Oregon. They go, well, you can do Salem. So I said, all right, give me Salem. They said, well, you should plan on about 400 kids going through the course. Well, we held the program and put over 1,000 kids through the course there in Salem. Salem, Portland, the Northwest, as I imagine Vegas is as well, is super thirsty for entrepreneurial education, and that is what Lemonade Day does. It's an 8-week course that leads kids through a step-by-step process of how to start a business through a business model of a lemonade stand. Then on May 3rd, every kid across the U.S. that went through the program has a lemonade stand. So there will be 300,000 lemonade stands on the same day on May 3rd in celebration of entrepreneurship, education, experiential learning. And that's what I do.